Rally. I want to bring in Will Hurd right now, the former congressman who represented the state of Texas. He's running for president these days. Will, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it. Day one of our show here from New York. Former President Trump speaking at that rally. You're running against him. A lot of people are running against him, but the polling for the former president looks terrific right now. Is he inevitable to be the nominee once again?
No, I don't think he's inevitable. And first off, let me say congratulations on the show, and I wish you success. And thanks for having me on your first day. It's an honor. But Donald Trump is not a fait accompli. But he is a front runner. There's no question about that. These national polls are a snapshot in time. They don't necessarily predict activity when the time comes for people to vote. When you look and you drill down at some of these statewide polls in a place like in New Hampshire, he has support, there's no question, but there's a good portion of his supporters that are interested and open to other folks. And the problem that I have with Donald Trump is Donald Trump's not running for president to make America great again. He's running for president to stay out of prison. And when he talks about his economic track record, it was, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was actually Paul Ryan's plan. And when he talked about some of the changes to things like USMC, that was Kevin Brady's plan. And so these were some of the people that helped make sure our economy was strong when Donald Trump was in office.
Even if all of that is true, Congressman, the political reality, as you well know, is that if all of you are still in this race running against him, and that kind of compromises the non-Trump vote, it does make it difficult to beat him as the nominee. We'll put some of the polling that we alluded to and you alluded to up on the screen, and it's Trump at 54%. Ron DeSantis, 15%, Nikki Haley, 7%, and then it goes down to the list. And, people like you are struggling, as you know, in the single digits. How do you look at it? Do you set a deadline for yourself? Say, hey, if I'm not X by Y date, I'm going to get out of this race. And should other candidates think of it that way so that there's one non-Trump candidate left in the running at some point?
Well, I think the governor of New Hampshire said it best over the summer, is that when winter begins and there's not a pathway to victory, people need to start thinking about consolidation. I'm clear. I've been supportive of that philosophy and recognize that if we want to make sure that we have a GOP nominee that can beat Joe Biden and address issues like problems at the border, we'll potentially need to consolidate. But right now, I'm still working to get on that second debate stage this Wednesday. I'm 31 donors from hitting the donor threshold of 50,000.
So you could still get in. They haven't cut it off. You're still a chance.
Tonight, I have set 6 hours. So I'm hoping some of the people that are watching your show on day one goes to herdforamerica.com, gives me at least $1 to help me hit that threshold. Like I said, I only got 31 donors to go to hit that requirement.
What would be your main argument if you got up there? I mean, would you go after President Trump, even though he won't be there? I mean, we saw Chris Christie do that. We saw Nikki Haley do that a little bit, and we saw other candidates really not go down that road. What would you do, hypothetically, if you do get there by tonight?
Well, I'd create clear contrast, right? The current process, the current issues we're having at the border today started under Donald Trump. The Trump administration is what actually started this process of treating everybody who comes to our country as an asylum seeker. Now, it got significantly worse under Joe Biden. There's no question about that. And so this was started under the previous administration. I draw a contrast, of that when Donald Trump left office, China was in a stronger position to grow their connections around the world, strengthening their relationships with other BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and South America, and South Africa.
Right.
So I would be creating that contrast. When it comes to places like Ukraine, we should be supporting the Ukrainians and not kissing the butt of war criminals like Vladimir Putin. So those would be the issues that I'd be talking about if I was on that debate stage.
Let me go back to that one, Congressman, if I can. The first issue you mentioned there, I believe, was immigration. And you went through a number of other issues after that. But immigration is something I wanted to talk more about with you, for obvious reasons. I mentioned on the introduction that you had represented Eagle Pass, Texas, in the Congress when you were there. You put an ad out recently about immigration. That I want to show a clip from that and then come back and talk about your message on that particular issue. Take a listen.
Joe Biden's failed policies have made it easy to come across our southern border illegally. Every day, thousands of people do it. Some are dangerous criminals, others smuggling fentanyl that's killing our kids. When I'm president, my administration is going to bring down cartels the way I hunted down terrorists abroad. Let's solve this crisis once and for all and finally secure America.
Okay, that is the Republican argument we've heard from others as well, Congressman Hurd. One of the things you've been known in your career is, for taking on both sides of the aisle, even though you're a Republican. So talk to us about what we can do. Where can we come together? Years ago, we used to talk about compromise on immigration, getting something done. I mean, how do we actually do it now? Can we still do that?
We still can do it. Unfortunately, immigration specifically is one of those issues that Republicans and Democrats would rather use as a political bludgeon against one another. But when it comes to not treating everybody as an asylum seeker, that doesn't require congressional action. That requires only the president to dictate that Department of Homeland Security should stop that process. Making sure that we're countering the cartels a national intelligence priority, that only requires effort from the executive branch to tell the CIA, the NSA to be working and using all the information Border Patrol is collecting. So those are issues that people agree on the Republican and Democratic aisle. We need a president, we need leaders that are willing to put these ideas and work with Republicans and Democrats to solve the problem. But the majority of voters in the Democratic primary and Republican primaries support all these issues that I've been laying out.
Okay, if you find yourself on that debate stage later this week, Congressman Hurd, maybe at least a fruit basket to NewsNation might be in order. I don't know if that must violate some sort of rules, but keep us up to date, okay? We'll have you on again.
Done. I appreciate that. HurdForAmerica.com. I really appreciate you. Congratulations.
There you go. Thank you, Congressman Will Hurd, the former congressman from Texas, former CIA as well.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.